last night's is right here. If you check them and you understand where you may have went wrong, you may put it in the bin. Just mark them right or wrong. Where's your homework from last night, from Friday? Get it out and check it. Put that away before it's mine forever and ever. No. But it might make good fire paper later. It's his, isn't it? Give it back. Put it in the bin if you're done. Just staple it. Is it the same thing? Just staple it.
Just like copy and paste it over there.
Okay. Everyone should have that put in the bin by now, correct? I did that purposely. I think some of you are copying down the answers and not actually working them out yourself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Put it in the bin. Put it in the bin. If it's done, put it in the bin for me. All right, today, what are we doing? Today, our game plan is to basically take two inequalities. I'm going to pass around some colored pencils. I would like you to take two colors that make a new color, or any two colors that you would like. I would like you to take two colored pencils, okay? What we're doing today is going to be doing some shading. Okay? Take two colors that you want. If you need to quickly sharpen them, please don't get to the need to be sharpened because, yeah. If you need to sharpen them, go ahead. They're coming back. What? You don't have any graph paper?
Yeah.
I apparently just pulled out of I apologize.
Do you have an endpoint to borrow for class? I'm sorry, all I have is 10.
Someone give him a pencil! Or use the colored pencil that you're going to be using right now.
Alright.
Alright! Okay, our game plan today is to take two graphs, two inequalities, to graph them on one graph together, one XY plane, and to find the intersecting regions where they overlap. Okay? That's why we need two colored pencils, so that you're able to see when the two colors overlap, that's the actual region that you're looking at. Does that make sense? So the very first thing that I want you to do is to solve this thing for y. So the first equation, this is number 5 off tonight's homework. Did we solve this thing for y? How do we solve it? What would you do first?
Subtract 2x.
I would add y, because if we add y, we're able to make it positive and bring it over on the left-hand side. And that's generally where we like to see our y, is on the left-hand side. Do we all understand why we started to do that first? So I have y plus 3 is less than 2x. The y's cancel out. And what am I solving for? I'm solving for y, so what do I get rid of now? I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So y is less than 2x minus 3. Box that in, because now we're going to get all the information that we possibly can from that lovely equation of y equals mx plus b. The first thing I want to know is the slope. What is my slope? 2 over 1, because we need this graphically. And what is the graphical definition of slope? Rise over run. So what does this mean graphically? I'm rising up 2 units and I'm running to the right, because whenever we rise, we stand, and then we run because we're left or right. This is positive for running to the right. What is my b value?
-3.
My b is -3 to give me the ordered pair. What? 0, -3. Now, is my line supposed to be solid or dotted? It is dotted because it is strictly less than. We see that? Since it's strictly less than, it's the dotted line. And do I shade above or below? I'm going to shade below. So now that I have the left equation done, now I need to focus on the right-hand side. So now, I need to take the right equation and solve it for y. So what do? Subtract x from both sides. Excellent. So I have negative 3y is less than or equal to negative x plus 4. Do you all see that I put the x before the 4? Why did I do that? Because we always like things in the form of y mx plus b. Okay, now what do? I'm going to divide each and every term by negative 3. If I divide each and every term by negative 3, then the slope falls out and the y-intercept fall out in its simplified form. So when you divide by negative, what happens to the inequality symbol? You flip it, so that becomes greater than or equal to positive 1/3 x minus 4/3. Box it in. And what do I get out of this equation? I do get a fraction, but more importantly, what do those fractions represent? The slope is 1/3, which is up 1 and to the right 3 units. And what is my b value? Negative 4/3. But guys, we're supposed to graph negative 4/3. Does anybody know where negative 4/3 is at? No, we don't know where that's at, so we actually have to turn it into a mixed number. So what's my mixed number going to be? Negative 1 and 1/3. Excellent. So this is going to be the point, negative 1 1/3 to give me the ordered pair, 0, negative 1 1/3. Do we all understand where that is? Someone have your calculator? What number? Could someone please give up calculator 15 for just today? Thank you, Sydney. I apologize, but she needs that for her pre-calc homework. Thank you. Is the line solid or dotted? It's going to be solid. How do I know it's solid? Because it can equal it. So therefore, since it can equal it, I have the solid symbol. And is it shaded above or below? It's above because it's greater than. The numbers larger mean above. Correct? Okay, so now that I've solved everything, and I got all the information I need on it, you guys already have this on your paper. I had to copy it onto my paper so that I could see it for the next slide. So I want you to get out your graph paper, and now we're going to graph this. The first thing I want to graph is going to be what? I needed to graph the left equation. So what did that turn out to be? What do I have to graph first? The y-intercept, which would be 0, negative 3. There's my y-intercept. And from there, what am I going to do? I'm going to go up 2 units and to the right 1, up 2 units to the right 1, up 2 units to the right 1, up 2 units to the right 1. I can do that as many times as my little heart desires. Yes? Okay, do I connect out the solid or a dotted line? That's going to be a dotted line. And since that's a dotted line, I did that earlier. I hate it when that happens. So now that it's connected with a dotted line, do I shade above it or below it? I'm going to shade below. So I'm going to take my yellow highlighter here, and I'm going to shade everything below it. Do we all see that, yes or no? Everyone should be doing this because this is tonight's homework, correct? Okay, that's the first equation. Does everybody notice that I graphed the equation, I connected the dots with solid or dotted, and then I did my shading? Did I even look at the other graph yet? No. So complete one before you start the other. Okay? Now, I need to graph the right-hand equation. And where do I start from that? 0, negative 1 1/3. So that's going to be approximately here, understanding that my eye is never going to get a third accurate. Do you understand that? But we're going to get it as close as we possibly can. And from there, I'm going to go up 1 unit and to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Up 1 and to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Up 1 to the right 3. And there are my points. Do I connect that with a solid or a dotted line?
And we're at the 1/3 gate.
Negative 1 1/3 is going to be right down here on the axis, right here. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect that with a solid line. Extending it. And where do I shade on that one? I'm going to shade that one above because that's what it says to do. And here's my line. So here's my shade. What do you notice? It crosses over. There's overlapping regions. Mine is going to be that green region right there. And I'm going to point that out even more clearly for you. If you have a highlighter, you can highlight the region. If you just want to darken it like I'm doing mine, you may do that. If you want to outline it, you may do that. Do we all see that little slice there? Yes or no? Okay. That is your solution. That's what I'm looking for. Do we all get that? Yes or no? Okay. Shall we do another one? Yes. Let's do number 7. What do you notice that is different about number 7?
Absolute value.
It has absolute value, doesn't it? And what does absolute value look like? A V, correct? It looks like a V or an upside down, and it looks like an arrow, right? Okay, now the step 1 that we have to do is solve for y. So take the first equation. Is that solve for y?
Yeah.
It is. And more importantly, is there anything that sticks out to you, maybe off of your slope drawing? It's y equals a number which falls where? It's a horizontal line. It is crucial that you recognize this because I've taught you these nice little tricks. It's a horizontal line at -2. Do we all understand that now? And is it going to be a solid or a dotted line?
Solid.
It's a solid line. Above or below? It's above. Okay, so what we've done is the left side equation, correct? Now what do I need to do? I need to do the right-hand side. Now the right-hand side has absolute value. And I gave you 2 equations for absolute value, didn't I? What's different about those 2 equations? One is a positive A value, one is a negative A value. When your A value is positive, what does the graph look like? It looks like a regular V. When it's negative, what happens? It's upside down and looks like the arrow. Now, here's what I want you guys to understand. When you have absolute value looking like that, which is standard form, A times the absolute value of x minus h plus k, that's standard form, there is no xy table required. If it is not in that form, that's when you have to make an xy table. Do we all understand that? Okay? So now that we get that I'm using the bottom one because A is negative, correct? What is A? -1, which means up 1 to the left 1, right? And what else do I need to look for here? H and K. What is H and K called? It is called the X and Y, but what's so special about H and K? Why is it called H and K and not X and Y? It's not very special if it's called X and Y. Starts with a V and ends with an X. Vertex. It's the vertex. What is unique about a vertex? It's the lowest or the highest point on the absolute value. Excellent. So you tell me, with the H, I have X plus 3 there, but what I really needed to see was X minus 3. So it's always the what of the number that you see. It's always the opposite. So I have a positive 3 here. So what that actually needs to interpret in our brain is not positive 3, but negative 3. And what is my k? 0. Why is it 0? Because there's no k value. Excellent. Is it solid or dotted? Solid. It's solid because it's less than or equal to. And is it above it or below it? And it is below it. Okay? So now that I have all my information, what do? I'm going to go over my XY axis here, and I'm going to graph. So I'm going to graph my left side equation first, which is my horizontal line. Okay, so if we do that, now you have to do all variables. So do the variables instead. Okay, so I'm going to do my horizontal line. That is going to be solid at -2. There she is. I'm actually going to move her down a little bit more. That's good. And where am I shading? I'm going to shade that one above. Get it, Bianca? Okay, excellent. So now I need to do my absolute value one. Where do I start for my absolute value? Please be very careful because I've done this twice today and I did it wrong 2 times because I graphed the y-intercept being 0, -3 in my brain. Do not transpose them. Make sure you're graphing -3, 0, which falls on the x-axis. Yes or no, people?
Why did you shade below the line 2?
I'm sorry?
Why did you shade below the line 2?
I didn't. That's the x-axis. That's the x-axis. This is the y-axis. Here is my line y equals 2. -2. You see that, Morgan?
Yeah, I did it positive. And I thought that's other than.
Yeah. It's important that you label your axes so you don't mess up your horizontal and vertical lines like that. So just be careful with it. So there's my point, -3, 0. Now what else do we know about absolute value graphs according to the vertex?
Both sides have the same slope.
I'm sorry?
Both sides have the same slope, just going different ways.
They have the same slope, which means they have symmetry, don't they? So I can go from here knowing that, is it going to be a positive or negative? It's going to open up or it's going to open down? It's going to open down. So from my vertex, I go down and to the right, down and to the right, down and to the right. From my vertex, down and to the left, down and to the left, down and to the left. Do you see the V? Yes or no? Do you see the V? Jet, you okay? My axis, my vertex is -3, 0. So here's that point right here, -3, 0. You see it? And from there, I know it opens down because my A value is negative, so I have a V going down. I can use my slope, down one to the right, down one to the right. And since there's symmetry going right down my vertex, I can get the other side also. Now I'm going to have a solid one. So there is my V. And since there's my V, my question is, where's my shading, above it or below it? It is below it, so that means I'm shading on the inside of this thing. Now you tell me, folks, where is my overlapping region? It's this little triangle in here. Do we see that little triangle? That's your overlapping region. Do we get that? What if the regions did not overlap? There would be no solution. Very good. Okay, last problem that I'm going to do with you is number 9. And then you guys are going to be on your own. Are you ready? Okay, step 1, what do I have to do? I need to solve each one of them for y. Is the first one solved for y? Yes, so what falls out of that? y equals mx plus b, which is your slope. And what is my slope? 1 over 1, up 1 to the right 1. And what is my b? To give me the point, 0, 0. Solid or dotted? Dotted because it's strictly greater than. And above or below? Above. Do I have all the information I need on that one? I do. The next one, is this in standard form for my absolute value? Yes, so do I need to make an XY table? Nope, I could use right to my lovely little standard form. Y is equal to A times X plus H, minus H plus K. Is it opening up or down? Why? It is opening up because A is positive. Do we all understand that? So my A value is 1 over 1, which is up 1 to the right 1. And since there's symmetry, I can go up 1 and then to the left 1. Do we all see that? So you're going to be going both directions here because of the symmetry. And what is my vertex, which is HK? It's the opposite of what the 2 currently is. So negative 2, 0. Please be very careful of that. It's the opposite of what you think it is. Is it solid or dotted? Above or below? Okay, now that I have all my information, what do? Graph it. Excellent. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to graph the point what? 0, 0. And from there, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And how do I connect the dots? With a dotted line. And where do I shade? I'm going to shade that above it. So there's my above line. And is that one done? What do I have to do? I have to graph my absolute value once. So where do I start graphing my absolute value? At negative 2, 0. Again, make sure your brain is not doing y-intercept, but instead doing vertex, okay? And from there, is it supposed to open up or down? Up, so I'm going to go up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. I have one part of my V, now what do? To the other side from my vertex, up 1 to the left 1, up 1 to the left 1, up 1 to the left 1. And how do I connect them? With a dotted line. There's one part, there's the other part, and where do I shade? I'm going to shade below that. So every place that I have every place below the V is what I shade. Now, you tell me, where are these intersecting at? It really does look like a humongous check mark, doesn't it? Because I have this whole inside here, and then it becomes all this out here. Do we see that? Yes or no? Yeah. Any questions over what I just covered today with you? I did nothing but homework problems with you, true? So everyone should be able to go home tonight and complete their homework. Yes? Maybe. Let's say yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The rest of the period is yours to work on this. We are out of here in 10 minutes. So you have 10 minutes to work on this. Sydney? Huh? Hold on.